Nation, welcome into Murph's Fan Cave for Raiders Fan Radio Conversation. World-renowned handicapper Brandon Lang of BrandonLang.com. He is also host of the Believe in the Sharp Edge podcast on the Believe Podcast Network, but that's spelled B-L-E-A-V. The guy is a world-renowned handicapper, as I mentioned, and so well that they actually made a movie about him, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute, but we want to first welcome to the show Brandon Lang. Welcome, Brandon.
What's up, Big Daddy? What's happening?
Man, excited to talk to you, man. This is a topic we hadn't explored yet on the show. Of course, you know, all of our conversations revolve around the Raiders in one way or another. So, of course, I want to ask you about the Raiders and what, you know, the betting opportunities look like for them in the course of the year upcoming. But first off, tell us a little bit about you. How'd you get your start? How long you been in the game and all that good stuff?
Been in the game 30 years. Got my start in 1989. Just kind of hanging out in Vegas and sitting in the back of the Stardust Hotel, and guys are like, you know, everybody asks everybody who everybody likes, you know, one guy, and so I gave out a play, and then that game won. Next Sunday I'm sitting there and same guy walks up and says, who you like? And I gave him a game and that won. And the next Sunday it just kind of built there where there's 15 guys coming up to me, and so one thing led to another, and I just kept validating my opinion with the right people. Pacino character heard about me in New York, brought me to New York, put me in a position to make a ton of money. And I went on a great 6-year run. Didn't like who I became, didn't like him, and didn't like the boiler room mentality. And I just basically said, you know what, I'm out of here like a fat girl in dodgeball. So I quit, walked away, and just kind of went out to Australia for 3 months, played in some basketball leagues. And while I was over there, somebody said, you know, what you just did for 6 years would make a phenomenal movie. So I've been back to LA, took a job at Riviera Country Club as a caddy, where I knew directors and writers and producers who played golf. I figured I'd caddy for the right guy, pitching my idea. Done. Sure enough, 3 months later, met Dan Gilroy. Caddy for it, pitched him. 6 years later, 2 for the money. That easy.
Wow, very cool. So how accurate was the movie? Was there any Hollywood license there, or did it stick pretty close to your story?
You know, you got to be careful when you sign your life rights away, because they can portray you as a transsexual Satan worshiper, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you just got to sit back and take it. But
unless you're into that thing, you know.
Well, you know, it's a whole different podcast conversation. But anyway, there's a lot of looking trannies out there. I don't know about you, but you know, I know Eddie Murphy's combing Santa Monica Boulevard at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, there you go.
So, you know, what are you gonna do? You know, Dan did a great job in the script. It was 85% true. I'm still a little pissed and irritated every time I watch the movie that we changed it from basketball to football because the movie takes place during a football season. So, and Matt couldn't shoot a basket. Basketball is my sport. My high school basketball coach says I never saw a shot I didn't like, and he's exactly right. I was a great shooter. Still am. I'll play horse. I'll play anybody horse for 1,000 a letter. Anytime, anywhere. I'm just an unbelievable shooter, trick shots, what have you. But the kid that they casted to shoot the basketball to the rim with no net, the beginning of the movie, still irritates me. That kid, like I said, that kid can't play a lick. At least get a kid that tucks the elbow and follows through, and get me a rim with a net, and just, I saw that. I was just like going, oh my God, I hate this movie. I hate it. I hate this movie. It's horrible. So that was kind of, that's kind of where we were, where we were. But overall, Dan did a really good job, and it stuck pretty true to form.
Nice. Very good. Very good. Well, it's a fun movie to watch. If you haven't checked it out, you can find it out there on Amazon Prime and whatnot. It came out in 2005, I believe, right? I remember when it came out. I went and saw it when it came out. It's a good movie. I liked it.
The Gamblers Anonymous scene and the dialogue that Dan wrote in the Gamblers Anonymous scene is as good a dialogue as you'll ever find on the planet Earth in describing what it feels like to gamble, what it feels like to lose, and the mentality of all that when you're in the heat of the moment. It's one of the most well-written scenes ever. And I tell people all the time, if you've never seen 2 for the Money, just watch it for the Gamblers Anonymous meeting. And I have people go, you in it? I'm like, I don't know. You have to watch the movie. And then they'll watch the movie and they go, I saw you. That's great. And I go, listen, I'm only on screen for like 2 seconds. It's not a cameo. It's a cam. Because my wife says I'm not on screen long enough to get the O. So we just call it my cam.
So what would you say to those folks that, again, this is a new topic for us, and, it's a subject that, like with anything, if not done with responsibility and moderation, that you can get yourself into trouble. And so what do you say to those probably have not done this. We're not opposed to it. Like, well, I like gambling. I enjoy, but in a very responsible way. What do you say to those folks to keep it that way?
Only bet what you can afford to lose. Set aside what you're going to bet for the week, and that's it. And treat it as entertainment and enjoy it, and don't try to become rich doing it, because it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, it's a whole season. And so I tell people, if it's 200 a week, then that's it. Set 200 aside and play with that for the week. If your minimum bet's 30, then bet 30. If it's 40, bet 40. And you start there. From that standpoint, if you have a best bet and you're going to bet $100 for the day, and you have a best bet, put 50 on your best bet, and then use the other 50 and bet a parlay or a tee, or if you want to fool around with that. But don't ever bet more than what you bet on your best bet, because how many times I meet people and see people and they go like this: wow, I hit my best bet, but I lost this game, and that game I lost this parlay and I ended up losing money. And I'm like, well, how can you win your best bet and have a losing day? And that's kind of the business model at BrandonLang.com. I have 10 handicappers on the website, and each guy releases one play, and that's it. And then you can kind of go through and see which handicapper you like and bet his best bet and stick with him. And that's kind of it's easier to hit one game than it is to try to hit 4 games. And that's the mistake that the general bettor makes. Is the general bettor wants to bet every game on the board because it's just fun having action on every single game. Well, you can't do that. It's not proper money management to do that. I have customers that I'll give them a game, and they'll call me up and go, wow, I can't believe I lost that. And I go, what did I give you the best bet? Well, no, I like this, I like that, and I like that. I'm like, why are you betting 12 games? Stop. That's like walking into a strip bar and trying to figure out which stripper is the best one. Just pick one that you like, and that's it. Don't dabble everywhere else. And another thing, don't ever go straight to the champagne room. Stop at the bar, get a drink, and see who's working before you make your best bet. I can't keep giving these free nuggets, man. It's just it's free.
So are there any prop bets on whether Antonio Brown takes a snap for the Raiders in the preseason or the regular season?
This is unbelievable.
Isn't it crazy? It's crazy today.
You could kind of, if you watch Hard Knocks, and I enjoyed John Gruden. If you watch Hard Knocks, you could see this coming. Mayock was fed up in episode 3 when he said, listen, he met with the reporters and he said, enough. We've been patient. We've supported him, but enough's enough. And you could see it coming. You could see it. He tested it, and Drew Rosenhaus is getting his TV time and what have you, but you could see it. And he misses the walkthrough, big mistake. And then he comes in, and him and Mayock get in, and Mayock says, you know what? Just go away week 1. If your mind's not right, then, and Mayock, I love Mike Mayock, by the way. And I kind of deem Mayock and John Gruden like Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones. And instead of trading Herschel Walker and getting a bunch of picks, they traded Khalil Mack to get a lot of picks. Jimmy Johnson told Jerry Jones, hey, we're going to be terrible with or without Herschel, so let's go ahead and get rid of him when he's got value. And that's basically how they built their franchise for the 3 Super Bowl checks. So when you look at the Raiders, they did the same thing with Khalil Mack, and you're looking at a Raider team that I think is going to be really, really good in the next few years. But this situation with AB, it's very disturbing for basically what the Raiders are trying to do as a team. It's just got the Terrell Owens feel to it.
Yes.
That's too bad.
Yeah. So the line swung on the Monday night game. So the Raiders were a favorite in the Monday nighter, and now the Broncos are now a 2-point favorite after this stuff. At least that's the last I saw. What are your thoughts on that? If for somebody that's going to put money on the Raider game this Monday,
just wait, because if you're patient, I would almost venture to say that line is going to go all the way to 3. And when it gets to 3, you take the Raiders plus 3. Home dogs on Monday night are a 72% winner, historically speaking.
Wow. That's a nugget right there. That's a good one.
My job is to give you nuggets, strip bar advice, single advice, life advice. It's not just about winners, brother. Guys, listen to your podcast with Brandon Lang. They get I'm just a kid from Michigan that married a dime piece. I'll kick my coverage from Tennessee to Alaska to Oakland. Very fortunate to have my hot Filipino wife for a white boy from Michigan. He's got the bald spot going in the crown, and I'm looking for that spray, the spray you put on your head.
Yeah,
I'm 50, I'm 56. My wife's 46. If you Google Brandon Lang's wife, if your listeners Google Brandon Lang's wife, they're going to go, "Oh my God, look at this guy. Look at Mark Zuckerberg's worth zillions, and my wife's hotter than his." I don't, so take that, Zuckerberg. But people ask me all the time, what was it like having Matthew McConaughey play you? And my answer always remains the same. When I'm 65 and I walk in that bedroom, I can say, "Honey, close your eyes. Here comes Matthew McConaughey."
Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. So, well, hey, before we let you go, tell us, so speaking of that, tell us a little bit about how the dynamic has changed, man. So the betting world is much different than it was at the time the movie portrays, or even the time when you were up and coming and all that. So what about it now with everything's online, right? Like everything with all you get apps and all that. So how is your world different now?
So for me, when the movie first came out, your margin of error to go on a losing streak was 5 or 6 days that guys would stay with you and let you work through it and hang in there. And then here comes the winning streak and you're good to go. Where it's changed now is your margin of error is so small. I'll give you a perfect example. I've had probably the best summer of my career. Winning June, winning July, I hit 12 games in a row in August. I started the month 1-4 and then reeled off 12 in a row. And I had 5 new guys came to the site and bought number 13 in a row, and they lost. And they email my customer service team and say, "He sucks. He's the worst." You're like, "I just hit 12 in a row, and you didn't get any of those 12. And you come in here for number 13 in a row, and you lose, and now I stink." And so of those 5 guys, 1 guy came back. The other 4 never came back. I reeled off 5 more in a row. Then I lost 2 and reeled off 4 more in a row. So the overall run's 23-7. And it just goes to show you, when you get a movie made about your life and you're Brandon Lang, I can't win enough to sustain the demand of people that want my picks. So all you can do is just grind it out and just try to avoid 2 or 3 game losing streaks, which I've been able to do the last 3 months, and just churn out a product where it's been pretty rock solid these last 3 months. It's been a good summer. So, but the bread and butter is the NFL. A couple plays for your listeners, like the Jaguars plus 4.5 over Kansas City. I just think that the Jags last year with Blake Bortles, who was terrible. I mean, talk about not being able to play dead in the Western. That boy was bad. And despite Blake Bortles, the Jags were a home underdog 3 times. They went 3-0 against the spread with 2 outright wins over Seattle and New England. Nick Foles is in play this year. That defense is intact. You have a Kansas City defense that me, you, and 3 strippers there in Tennessee could have got open on that defense and gained 100 yards, I guarantee you. So that defense going on the road in this situation, give me the Jags plus 4 and Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin, last 6 times as an underdog. The Steelers are 6-0 against the spread with 5 outright wins. There's do's and don'ts in life. Don'ts, don't ever give a stripper your credit card in the champagne room. The do's, jump on the Steelers anytime you can get them as a dog.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff, Brandon. Bringing it to the RFR listening audience. So y'all hit those, man, and we trust his opinion, and we appreciate your time. So give us a little shout out to about what you think about the Raiders long term before we go. What are we looking at for this season? What are the odds if I were to go and lay down $100 on the Raiders to win the West? Am I crazy?
Yes. Yes. But I think their win total's 4.
Really?
4 or 5. It's low. It's 4. I would bet.
Is that outright wins, or is that bet?
That's just win. That's just how many games they're going to win this year. I think it's 4, and I would bet over that. I put you $100 on that. And I believe within 5 years, John Gruden will have the Raiders in the Super Bowl.
Boom.
In 5 years. I believe that.
Awesome.
All right.
That's perfect. Well, Brandon, man, it was great talking to you. I appreciate you sharing your story with us. Appreciate you sharing the wisdom, man, and dropping some picks on us. And we'll look forward to having you back here on Raiders Fan Radio.
Bro, I would love it. And I got some unbelievable caddy stories from Riviera Country Club when I was trying to get the movie made. The Jack Nicholson, Dennis Hopper story. When I tell that story, I get high on marijuana again, telling the story of how high they got me. I get high telling the story. I can't drive. I want to go into Dick's Golf Wings, eat like 50 wings after I tell the story. They got me high every hole. Like Dennis Hopper would not let me. He made me smoke weed he goes, "You want to get tipped? You better hit this." It's one of the most epic caddy stories in history of mankind. So next time I come on, I'll tell the story because I don't smoke weed anymore, but I get high telling that story, so I get a little buzz going.
Oh man, perfect. Well, we love to hear it. Awesome. Well, we'll definitely get you back on. Thanks again, BrandonLang.com. Thank you, Brandon.
Got it. Thanks, bud. See you.
Bye bye.